Yeah, dude, what's going on, troopers? CT3939 here, and I was just laughing with Coach Marcos because we are 9 hours apart. He's in Sweden. I'm in Seattle, so we're looking at a 9 hour difference. It's 5 a.m., 6 a.m. in Seattle. I don't even know what time it is. I'm trying to get the images to set up right. There we go. What's going on, Marcos? How we doing?
What's going on, guys? Good to see everybody.
Good to see everyone. We're gonna break down episode 4. A different approach of Bad Batch season 3. So let's start off and bring back the trusty old PowerPoint slides here, which I used in last season's review. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cover top moments, things that stood out to us. And I got a couple images to, bring back some of those reminders and give you guys kind of a visual as opposed to just talking about it. Then we'll go predictions moving forward. And then fit for the Republic challenges. There are now 7 30-day series that you can do. You can literally train as some of your favorite characters in Star Wars and train with them. So it's super fun. So top moments from a different approach. I thought this was cool. I looked it up. It ended up being the same clone trooper helmet style, but seen on the goggles and the poncho. I don't know, for whatever reason, made it feel like they were a little bit more human. Like the stormtroopers get cold.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to just like always in armor, always in white, no issues.
Right.
What did that stand out to you, or did you catch any of that?
Yeah. No, I thought it was cool because I always I think I geek out on the different like environments that they're in, how they adapt those uniforms to that. And I think this one was just a bit more like kind of had like a Blade Runner type feel, like apocalyptic type look. So I think it was pretty interesting, just based on the environment, and kind of gave like the environment a little bit of an edge as well.
Yeah, definitely. And this episode, it had a number of different areas where there was a different approach, right? So you have Crosshair and Omega going to the shipping, like the docking area. And they tried to bribe the worker. I didn't catch what the species or planet people were called, but that's usually it doesn't work that way. I was like, oh, she's gonna rat on Omega, and then she's like, oh, 15,000 credits, and then Omega's like, let's take a different approach. And I was with Crosshair the entire time. I was like, just blast them. Like, you got one of the best sharpshooters in the galaxy.
Yeah,
but then they go to the bar, and we'll get to this part next. But they go to the bar. And then next thing you know, Omega's stealing money from probably a bounty hunter from that we see in the Clone Wars. I don't know. I didn't catch if that was one that we saw in the Clone Wars, but very similar art style, very similar voice that we see. I forget what the episode is, but it's when they're hunting Wookiees on that planet. Trandoshan. Yeah. And so she just goes right in, cleans the floor with him. I don't know how many credits she got, but well over the 30,000 she needed. And then the captain comes in, and if that guy doesn't just smell like every other greedy corporate mid-level manager with absolutely no integrity, that was exactly what I expected.
No, absolutely. I think it's it goes back to like like all these like why the Empire started to fall apart. Like, I mean, it's obviously many reasons, but I mean, this is like a large reason, right? Is because you had a lot of self-serving like bureaucrats that were all these regional governors that were essentially like just basically out for themselves and undermining kind of the Empire. Like, they were eroding the Empire kind of from within as well. So I think it was a nice little nod to that. And showing, and this is just the beginning as well. So it's it's already starting at that stage.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and it was talking about this triangle of leadership, and it was love, respect, and fear. And obviously there was no love for people in the Empire, but I thought it was an interesting way to look at it, because you'll get people who create huge followings because the people love that creator. Right. Or there's someone who's done really hard things. So it's like, all right, yeah, I respect that guy. He achieved something incredible, like a marathon a day for a month, like crazy things. So like there's that respect. And then there's fear, where maybe that person has the ability to cause you pain. And so I say all this because the upper levels of the Empire were really good at fear and balancing everything that they needed to do to be
Mm.
leaders. But then you can have bad leaders at exhibiting those traits as well. You know what I mean?
Right, right, right.
And
No,
so
absolutely.
it's in any business or enterprise, you're gonna have entropy where the best people at the top are able to do it, but then the lower people can never do it at that
Hmm.
level,
Hmm.
especially when the only thing they're relying on is fear to govern
Hmm.
the local systems, as Tarkin says.
Hmm.
So I don't know, just like
Well,
kind of I was watching A New Hope last night. I was listening to that podcast and I was like, wait, like they literally only use one of the three things for leadership, and some of them use it or abuse it really poorly.
right. Right, absolutely. And I think that's like this is one of the things that like one of the I guess the pillars of obvious that we know of the empire is that they wanted to go away from that that kind of that republic to a centralized approach. But obviously there's like a huge downside to there is that nobody can operate off of intent, off of a commander's intent at the at the commander level on the ground, or at the highest levels at whatever Palpatine's intent was. Nobody could operate off of that. They couldn't adjust to the situations, and I think that's something that when we look at to tie it back to like maybe more of a military standpoint is like what we call maneuver warfare, and that's what we use in the Marine Corps is maneuver warfare, because we like war and any dynamic situations like that is so fluid, and there's things changing all the time, and there's this randomness, but we still have to be able to operate, and through the fog of war. And you can apply this to whatever context that you want. Obviously this could be sports, this could be regular life, but it's like, how are we empowering our not only fellow leaders but also the people underneath us to operate off of intent, right? What's our intent? How can we, and to tie it back into maybe more of a corporate is what is it that we want to accomplish? Why do we want to accomplish it? But we don't give the how, right? We let the people underneath us, through the training that we've imparted on them and through essentially building good character, etc., is like that will develop itself, right? Of course there's guidance and things like that, but we're not telling people like step by step how to do things. We're trying to empower them to eventually be able to operate on their own, with the least amount of instruction possible, and still and just have a amazing result as well. And we can apply this in the military sense all the way through to the civilian world as well. So I think it's super cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can go deep with the allegories of Star
Mhm.
Wars politics to real world politics. And
Mhm.
obviously no one's ever ruled everything, whether that's the galaxy and or the world for an extended period of time. And it's
Mhm.
because when things get too big, there's no way. It's almost like you ever build a not a castle of sand, but you try and like stack sand.
Mhm.
Like as
Mhm.
soon as it gets high, it starts to fall apart. As soon as it gets high,
Right.
it starts to fall apart. So, all right, we spent a good amount of time on that. So let's go to this. What I thought was really, we're nerding out over politics of Star Wars. The scenery of the planets. This is a shot of the scenery as they flew in,
Mhm.
but I thought the scene when Omega, spoilers by the way for anyone watching, when Omega and Crosshair land on the planet to meet up with Wrecker and
Mhm.
Hunter. That shot of the planets in the background with the ship, this was
Mhm.
like right out of
Mhm.
Starfield or some sort of video game. I thought that was really cool, and that was always honestly the visual thing that stood out to me the most
Mhm.
for this episode, and probably a lot of episodes.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. It kind of pulls on what was that, Star Wars biomes. Have you seen
Hmm.
that?
Yeah,
And
Star
it
Wars
really,
biomes.
really, yeah, exactly. And just appreciating like how like the detail, the level of detail, how big they try to make the episode feel, and also how small like the characters are within this world. I think it really like spoke to that, and just let you feel the weight, the gravity of where they're at, and then their exploration, like coming back into that reunion and everything like really like tied together, but at the same time so small and really inconsequential in this larger galaxy. So I think that was super cool.
Yeah, I like you say that it's they're so small in a massive galaxy, and we're watching all these missions, and it's easy to make it feel like Star Wars is this really tiny galaxy that
Mm,
only follows the Skywalkers. and maybe 7 or 8 planets, but
Mhm.
there's so many planets. And it's cool. We saw the planet that they were stuck on for a while.
Mm.
Saw the planet that they met Hunter and Wrecker on, and there was 2 planets in the background. I don't think we have any names for those, but
Mhm.
just give me more planets. And I love how Star Wars tries to like there's obviously so many biomes.
Mm.
There's water, grass,
Mhm.
tropical, like, we've seen all those, and then there's barren. We'll see, fire planets, ice planets,
Mm.
desert planets. But it's cool seeing them try and come up with creative ways to
Mm.
meld the two together, and then they come in with some crazy creatures in
Mm.
the middle.
Absolutely.
This one, I think if you've seen this episode, you know what I'm talking about. But this whole scene right here was cracking me up. I was waiting for Dr. Grant to like take off his glasses and peek around and be like, that's a Bronchiosaurus or whatever was inside of that cage. Did you catch that right away?
I didn't. No, no, no. I mean, I could hear the different animals, and it definitely had that vibe, but I didn't catch that. No.
So do you remember like the original Jurassic Park
Mhm.
with the
Yeah.
Velociraptor that pulls in the guy?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how the captain dies. He gets pulled
Mhm.
in, and you see him like kind of reaching, and then you
Mhm.
just hear him gurgling as he gets
Mhm.
eaten. But
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
all the stormtroopers got ran over by a bunch of just like galloping kind of
Yeah.
savannah type. I don't know. It reminded me a lot of uh, how the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park would have ran,
Mhm.
and the kids had to wedge up against the. I'm
Mhm.
trying to remember now. Wedge up against the tree to
Mm.
save themselves, and then meanwhile all the stormtroopers got whacked. But
Right. Right. Right.
I feel like I was wondering how they're going to get out of that, because I was like, all right, Crosshair is kind of not the shot that he used to be,
Mhm.
and that's a lot of stormtroopers to take
Right.
down.
Right.
He ended
Yeah.
up not
Exactly.
being that accurate.
No, 100%. And I think this like speaks to just their ability to really like utilize their environment. Like they're so good at that. And that goes like back, kind of taking it back to the gambling scene, right? It's they're always thinking strategically, like, hey, what is their this kind of, what's our main goal? They know obviously get off the planet. Like that's what they want to do, get off the planet. But then they're always willing to like change whatever that is that they, whatever method it is, at the moment. I think they're so good at that. So I think that was super neat. Even though they're not very like you said, it was like you mentioned Crosshair had one strat, he wanted to go with one method. Omega wanted to wanted to do the kind of soft touch, and they were arguing the whole way, but they still managed to, when push came to shove, still managed to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Omega is the person who plays the video game how the video game creators want it to be played, where it's
Mhm.
like it'll highlight an area where it's like, click this button to unlock the beast so that you don't have to fight. And then Crosshairs everyone else that most of us when we play games where it's like, all right, when can I just have a firefight
Right,
and
right,
go the
right,
hard path, but at least be
right.
able to shoot people?
Yeah.
All right. So, final thing for me that stood out, and I think it stood out probably for everyone, we get the reunion of what's left of Clone
Mm.
Force 99. Carissa, loving it. Rocket Ruby. If anyone has any thoughts or questions, drop them in, or just thoughts about this reunion. But Marcos, what do you got on Crosshair reuniting with the guys he was trying to kill for 2 seasons?
I mean, first off, I'm like, I thought I was prepared. I thought I was like, okay, I know this is gonna be emotional. Like, how are they gonna deliver it? I thought I was ready. And then they just really like hit you. They know how to pull the strings. They give you the close up on both of them, and then they expand it out, and you see that kind of large view, that panoramic view. And I was just like her running into, being a kid again, and you see that you forget she's a kid because she's over there, organizing ambushes. They're organizing clandestine operations, like trying to get out, commandeer, aircraft, sneak onto aircraft, gamble, blah blah blah, and you forget that she's a kid, and then this happens, and then that all comes kind of rushing back, and you just see her going to Wrecker, going to Hunter, and you're just like, gosh, it's like it really kind of pulls at you. But and then obviously how they drop Crosshair coming out, a little bit later. I think I wasn't expecting that they were going to be as harsh. I definitely thought, just because of everything that happened, and obviously like there's a lot of negative there, but I thought it would have been more of a shock, like, oh, there he is. But they were legitimately just look pretty pissed. So it's gonna be a rough next episode, I think, for them coming back together.
Yeah, because you see Omega get off the ship and say, okay, Omega's safe. This is what we've been working for. Like they said, they would cross the galaxy 5 times or whatever. And so then you see Crosshair, but I don't think the human brain can take that new information and transition that against 99 other units of he tried to kill me, he tried to kill me, he tried to kill her, he tried to kill her. And so that would be a really weird thing to see him coming off, where it's like the initial connection you make is that he helped save her life. And then you're like, oh, but I can't get over just all of that, at least in that specific moment. I was waiting for Wrecker to like grab his gun and then for it to have kind of like a standoff. But they obviously cut it out before then. It probably was, even more emotional for you too, just thinking about you and having your girls run up to you.
Yeah, that's probably why. I mean, subconsciously, like, I wasn't I think consciously I'm just like, I think that's definitely, you have some fatherly, like, because when you see just this shot alone, like seeing this, it's definitely emotional, like seeing that. You want, like, they want to be, her protector. They want to make sure that she's safe in this crazy world that they're in this lifestyle that they're living. But again, you kind of go back to that paternal kind of instinct, I guess. So for sure,
this whatever like this was, and emotionally, I have a feeling that if Disney wants to, they can twist that knife and get people sobbing. There's so many dynamics at play here, and you got father, kid, a unit of people that we've enjoyed for a really long time, knowing that they're not in the original trilogy, and we got cloning. Buckle up, troopers. All right, future episode predictions. Do you have anything?
I don't know. Maybe now to say escapes. I don't know. I'm thinking that she somehow makes it out. I don't know why. I got a feeling that she's gonna somehow make it out of there. Maybe her and the clone, the doctor, the clone doctor.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Emery Carr.
Yeah. And maybe they escape together. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. I got this feeling somehow there's something going on there. I think that Emery like made a connection with Omega. She left an imprint, and for some reason, I think they're gonna team up and try to break themselves out or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely don't see, because how Dr. Hemlock made it seem is they can't run the test again on Omega until they capture Omega. So Nalase, I always get their names mixed up. Nalase, that's the one we're talking about.
Yeah, Nalase.
Yeah, Nalase. It's the Tonwi, Nalase,
Lamasu,
Nalalu, Lama, Boo, like so many of them. Anyway, it was interesting that he didn't buy it, but he didn't say outright that she was lying when she says, "Oh, we get false positives all the time."
Right.
And he says, "We'll see." If I'm Dr. Hemlock, I'm like, yeah, right, you liar.
Like at this point, like you can assume that everything she's saying is a lie.
Yeah. And so she just goes, "Oh, it's a false positive." Right. Yeah, we didn't see a ton of those people. Obviously, at the end, I thought this was interesting. Dr. Hemlock goes, he says, not call in everyone, but he basically says something along the lines that made me realize, they're calling in all of the bounty hunters. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? I forget what the exact wording was, but they're sitting next to the crash ship, and he's like, send a signal out or send a note out to
all of our assets. I think
all of our operatives.
Operatives, that's what it was. Yeah,
operatives. Send a notice out to all of our operatives, and so
right.
I think we get Boba Fett, Cad Bane. I think, did we talk about this last week? Or maybe I heard this, because they have all these operatives going after the bounty. Could this be where they recreate that scene of Boba Fett and Cad Bane having their first standoff that gives Boba Fett the dent?
Yeah. And then obviously Cad Bane mentioned that when they had their interaction as well in his show.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, they kind of remember. He's like, "Hey, good to see you again," or whatever. So
Yeah. So that'd be
you're
cool.
going soft in your old age, yeah.
Going soft. And then
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There's probably Aura Singh out there. There's probably a number of bounty hunters. They
R.
won't be able
Singh.
to
I
show
would
everyone.
I would really love to see R. Singh again come back. I was
She
trying to
got
think, did she get killed or?
she got the weakest death. They just mention it that it happened off screen. Like Tobias Beck, it's like, oh yeah, I pushed her off a cliff.
Mhm,
Like, can you imagine if, and obviously Aura Singh's not Jedi level, but can you imagine if they were like, oh, what happened to Plo Koon? Oh, he crashed his ship into a building and died.
right. You're like,
Have you
really?
no honor for the
And no, but
character?
she's been killed off like 4 times, I think, or 3 times. So I wouldn't be surprised if they bring her back.
I mean,
Um,
I don't know where the timeline off the top of my head aligns with this episode and
yeah.
Solo, but in Solo they established that that's where she died. So I think
Right,
that's
right, right.
the canon one.
Did you see her in Phantom Menace when they had her in there?
Yeah,
That was so crazy. I didn't realize that until like, I don't know, 6 months ago or something like that. I was like, "Oh my gosh, is
yeah,
that RC?"
yeah. She's just chilling. Just
Yeah, what was she doing? She was just standing on the side of a cliff or something. Like, I don't know.
yeah, she's probably running errands for Jabba and swung by to catch the game.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh my gosh.
So I think
But yeah.
this one's obvious,
Mhm,
but this also I could see being super emotional. Crosshair's gonna feel super bad, and there's nothing worse than someone who's trying to make up for a ton of wrongs, and they're beating themselves up about it, and the other people don't let him off the hook, and it's
mhm.
gonna take him sacrificing himself for them to be like, all right, he's redeemed. Like that's the only thing he can do. So I kind of
Yeah.
feel bad for Crosshair.
Yeah, I think that's the only thing that he can do at this point. I mean, and it's like, it's not like he just, crapped a bed a couple times. Like, he obviously was trying to orchestrate their capture, try to kill them several times, as we said. And then, yeah, I think this is the only way that he can actually go out.
I will say
Um,
though, now that I think about it, season 2 didn't have Crosshair hunting them.
no.
He sent out Plan 88.
Mm,
He, um, on the end of season 1, was left on the platform, but
mhm,
they were in decent terms there because he had
mhm.
just kind of helped them escape Camino,
Right.
right? In a way, I kind of already feel like he's already made inroads to make up for it. And
Mm,
obviously, like it doesn't make up for like he tried to kill them for a while. But I was thinking it wasn't season 2 that he was doing
mhm,
this. It was just season 1, and they kind of reconciled as a
mhm.
neutral, leaving him on the platform. That's how I
Right.
remember it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, no, I think that they probably left on. I mean, he did a lot of smaller things that definitely allowed them to escape. But I mean, I think there's still that feeling, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They gave him so many chances. Then he tried to trap him, and then it's like they don't know. Especially now, it's only 2 of them out there. I mean, everybody else is kind of scattered, and it's so they're feeling even more vulnerable at this point. So
Well,
let's see if the next episode starts with them drawing their weapons on him.
I think next episode, we see Echo and Rex, right? Because there's only 2 rotations that they
Mm,
mentioned until they'd be able to help provide reinforcements. And Hunter's like, we don't have time for that. We gotta go.
mm.
Um,
Right, right.
so then that would be a pretty cool scene to have those 6 all in one working
Mm.
on a mission. Can you imagine that? Rex and Crosshair, and then
That's gonna be interesting.
that
After
like,
he's calling him Reg the whole time and just giving him so much grief.
yeah, we don't
So
usually work with regs.
right, right.
Wait, I really want that. All
Yeah.
right, cool. Buckle
That's
up.
gonna be interesting. That's gonna be interesting.
Buckle up.
So that'll be cool.
All right, so we got next week's episode. I don't have the title off of it, but it sounds like your thought is that they'll have a standoff kind of initially.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have a standoff. And then, like I said, the long shot is that the doctor and Nalase escape or do some kind of sabotage. So
Yeah. My out there prediction is that Rex and Echo show up. Rex takes him off into a corner of the mountainside, interrogates him, and he's like, "All right, boys, he's good." It's like I, I gave him the old Umbara noogie, and he's on our side now.
Right. He's like, you guys aren't still upset about that time I tried to kill you, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's good soldiers following orders. So if you're
Right,
still
right.
with us, we've got 7 Fit for the Republic challenges. You can train like a cadet, a 501st Trooper, an ARC Trooper, Clone Force 99, Mando, Boba, Jedi Padawan. And at this point, thousands of people are getting on board. And we're building out a new community inside of Fit for the Republic. So this is the free community for the 30-day challenges. We have another one if you are interested in coaching. Both those links are going to be down below. But either way, would love for you to be a part of the community. Thanks for watching. Marcos, any final words before we let these troopers go have an awesome Thursday?
No, just have an awesome Thursday. Get after it. And yeah, have a good one.
All right. For the Republic, boom. We also got these available on the troop transmission. But yeah, CT3939 signing out. CT4526 signing out. We'll catch you on the next trooper transmission.